Hey guys, it's Jen over at worldofjencraft.com, and this is our card for today. This is the My Favorite Things sketch number 363, and I thought this turned out pretty sweet. It's a pretty, I don't want to say super simple card. There's quite a bit of detail in it, but when I first did it, before I added my little sequins, I thought it looked a little bare, maybe a little bottom heavy. But once I added the little sequins to, you know, kind of the corners and then up here a little bit, it helped draw the eye up a little bit more. So you know what? I thought I'm just going to go ahead and keep it because I do think it's pretty. So anyways, let's get to the supplies and I will show you how I put this together. I absolutely think these little hedgehogs are so stinking adorable. The iridescent sequin assortment, I've been using this quite a bit lately. I'm just loving the soft colors and the added texture and dimension that it gives. Burlap Ribbon, I decided to go ahead and pull this stuff out and use it on my card. The Hedgehugs stamp set, is that just not the cutest? I absolutely love it. Can't wait to play a little bit more with that. I did use a die from the Petals and More Thinlits dies. I really like how you can take this and get so many different details to be able to add to your cards and not necessarily need the stamp set. Although I do have it, I just haven't really figured out how to use it all yet. Layering circles, framelits. And then the brick wall embossing folder. I do love this and I don't use it often enough, but I thought it was a nice added texture to the card. I pulled out some Soft Sky, my Stampin' Right marker, just to color in the little flower here, and then a wink of Stella. For card supplies, you are going to need a 4 1/4 by 11 crumb cake, and a 2 1/4 inch scalloped circle. Wow, that kind of felt like a little tongue twister there. And then for your card base, of course, you're going to score it at 5 1/2 to create that. Soft Sky cardstock is 4 by 5 1/4. I just really love these soft colors together. The Whisper White cardstock is 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. And then I will be using a 2 1/8 inch circle once I stamp out my hedgehog and cut it out. And then I'll just need a scrap to stamp out my hedgehog because I stamped him and cut him out as well. Pear Pizzazz cardstock, this is that really pretty border that comes from that die set, is 1 1/4 by 4 1/4, and that will give you enough room to be able to cut this out. I just love how intricate this die is. And then I did bring in a delicate white doily for this. So let's go ahead and I'm going to stamp out my hedgehog first and cut him out. And one of the reasons I did not cut out my circle first was I wanted to have him in a certain area within my circle. So I decided it was just best if I stamp him out first and then cut. So for my hedgehog, I'm going to go ahead and use my crumb cake ink. And I'm just going to stamp him out first on the piece that I'm going to be cutting with my circle. And then I'm going to stamp him out again on our scrap. Perfect! Yay! So let's grab out our big shot and I'm going to cut out my circle and then we are going to emboss our background paper. So grab this big boy out here and I think I'm just going to go ahead and emboss this. So I'm just going to put my embossing folder this way and stick my paper in because I want my brick wall to be going across my paper. And we are going to use the regular platform that came with the Big Shot and just our 2 plates, one on the bottom and one on the top. And I'm going to bring in my magnetic platform and our stamped image, which I have thrown over here. So I'll grab him out, and let me find my circle. I already have my die out here. So when I put him in here, I want to keep him more up towards the top portion of my circle. That way I have enough room down here at the bottom to stamp my sentiment. So I'm just going to make sure that there's equal space between where my flower ends and where his little foot ends. And I think that should work out just fine. So the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my scissors and I'm going to cut around him. And I'm going to go ahead and leave just a little bit of a white space all the way around. So it doesn't take too long to cut out this little guy. But I will fast forward while I cut it out, so that way you don't have to sit and watch me do it all. All right. So now that we have that, let's go ahead and bring the rest of our card in, and we are going to start assembling this card. That's what it's called. It's called a card. So I'm just going to go ahead and assemble and put my Whisper White onto our Soft Sky. And it may like shrink up on you when you do the embossing, so there, that'll work. And I'm going to put, see how I did this was, let me get my little piece out here. I went ahead and folded my doily in half, trying to match up my edges as best I can. It's not going to be absolutely perfectly matched up, but the best that you can. And then I went ahead and put adhesive just down here kind of towards the top a little bit, and I lined it up so the center of my doily was along this center scalloped line here. So just about like this from edge to edge. Let's see if I can. It was a little bit easier when I did it before. And you know, I don't think I was going to say, I didn't know if I had put adhesive on the inside of the doily or not. So I think it's easier to kind of eyeball it like this as it's going the long way. Okay, so there's that. And then I went ahead and just put some more adhesive down here. And I'm going to put this so I have, I don't know, maybe about 1/2 inch or so from the bottom of the doily to the bottom of my card. Maybe 1/2 inch, give or take. So my, I had a total brain fart there. My burlap ribbon, that's what it is. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to cut down here, because I didn't want to use the entire piece of the burlap. I just felt like it was a little bit too wide for what I wanted. So cut just a little bit more of that. And then I'm going to take you'll end up with one piece that's a little bit wider than the other. So I'm going to take the piece that's a little bit wider, and I'm going to put some adhesive on the back. This whole entire piece is going to end up getting put on to our card base. So I'm just going to go ahead and put my adhesive on here and then line up my burlap with the very top edge of the doily. And just wrap that around the back. And I'm going to go ahead and put just a little bit more adhesive to cover over the burlap that comes on the back, just to make sure that it stays down and sticks when I adhere this whole piece. You certainly could use some Stampin' Dimensionals if you wanted to make this piece pop a little bit more. But I kind of felt there was enough dimension, so I decided to go ahead and just lay it flat on my card base. A little stray string here. So there's that. And then I'm going to just put this down onto my crumb cake scalloped circle. I really loved the soft hues in this card. And then I'm going to grab out 4 Stampin' Dimensionals to put on the back. And I like to use, you know, a lot of Stampin' Dimensionals. I like to have the 4, just makes it feel more sturdy when I go to put it on. So then that's going to go down here and it's going to cover up, so you have this little circle here that comes around on your doily. So I'm going to go ahead and just come down right about that. And I did forget to stamp my sentiment. I probably should have done that before I put it on the Stampin' Dimensionals, but let's go ahead and see. This is just a little tiny one. It says, "Hi there." So, and this is going to get stamped in, oh, there it is, perfect. So that was stamped out in the Pear Pizzazz. The extra piece of burlap that we cut, I went ahead and just tied into a knot. And then cut down. So probably like about there and about there. And then I'm just going to adhere that on with a glue dot. And I'm just going to kind of squish my glue dot down and around it so it doesn't stick up and out, so I don't see that glue dot when I have it on there. And that's just going to put right here on the very edge. And your burlap might come apart, but that's okay. I think it just kind of adds to the texture of it as well. And then last but not least, well, I shouldn't say that because it's not even last. It's not even second to last. I'm going to take my fine tip glue pen, if I can find it here. I know it was sitting out on my counter. And I'm going to adhere my sequins. Found it. It was hiding behind another thing on my desk. Surprise, surprise. So, so I used just the blues and the greens that come in this little assortment. And I used kind of a larger one, a medium blue, and then the little teeny tiny green one as well. So I'm going to pick these out and stick them on, and I'll fast forward so you don't have to watch me pick up each individual little tiny sequin and place it on. Because I could be here for a while, not gonna lie. Alright. It does take a little while to gather out and try and choose your sequins and glue them on, but I do really think that they add so much to the card. So for me, it is definitely worth the little extra time that it takes to dig those out of there and search for just the right one. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to color in my little flower here. And then we're going to take our, excuse me, my cut out image, which there he is, he was hiding. And I'm going to use some Stampin' Dimensionals to pop him up. And then I'm just going to try my best to line up the image underneath with that line there. So hopefully, yeah, that looks pretty good there. So I'm just going to keep that on there. And then I'm going to brush on just a little bit of Wink of Stella into the flower. And then I went ahead and I put Wink of Stella on him, but I just did it in this darker area here. I did not take it out onto the parts of his body that did not have the ink covering it. So just kind of kept it in this area. And that way he just kind of popped a little bit more, more so than what he already does. So kind of helps bring the eye, gives a little bit of interest when you add that. And I believe that is it for our card. So there it is. See all that shimmery goodness the sparkles and the little iridescent sequins. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you for watching. I cannot wait to show you what the next sketch is going to be, but I might throw in a little 3D item in between. So I have a little cute bag that I have been waiting to get to, so I'll get that, and I will check you guys later on my next video. If you would like to see the sketch in addition to printable downloadable dimensions, check out my website worldofjencraft.com. Thanks so much. Talk to you later. Bye.